We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Roaring Kitty. No, I'm kidding. It's Bill Noble. Streaming at the same time as Roaring Kitty today. GameStop. Love it, hate it. Love it in that you get a good speculative punch. You get a little blowback against the system. Don't like it because Roaring Kitty knows that there's a very bad blow up out there. It is. Like if they keep having to halt the stock, like in other words, why not just let the stock go up? They don't halt NVIDIA. Somebody's caught. Now, I think that is the only thing that and this, fictitious payroll number, these are the things that are probably holding crypto down. So crypto is probably just ready to go, particularly with some of the altcoins that we've been discussing. Go. The only thing that's holding it back is are we looking at some sort of systemic hedge fund blow up, right? This could be a situation where Roaring Kitty makes a whole lot of money. Oh, by the way, and Nancy Pelosi, because she's in, right? I mean, that'll just tell you that something's terribly wrong, right? So Roaring Kitty may make a bunch of money, but other risk assets, I don't know. They may get flushed out. There also may be good news. If Roaring Kitty blows up a hedge fund, that could bring in rate cuts. On balance, there are more positive crypto scenarios than negative. And even if there was a negative scenario for crypto, it could be sharp but temporary. That is the elevator pitch market update. Let's welcome who's here. Huber's Ranch, SGSG, and OG. Kita Sira, welcome. Brandon, Crypto Steph, Great Chief, Lisa, welcome. Okay. Vidotes, if I got that right. VA Buds, New Win, Silent Lamb, Brandon, welcome. MY, Tom Harold, Leo, Mark, Scott, Busy Bijou, welcome to the show. Where are the green lights in the back? Technical difficulties today, getting a new TA indicator suite right before the show. Super exciting stuff. Kenneth, good morning. What's up? All right. News. Okay. First of all, before we even start doing news, let's just check where the monster is. I've got every GameStop chart you can think of queued up already. So, okay. So this is stable and down. Crypto is up. Funny, Cardano up today. That's funny. Okay, BlackRock. BlackRock's just buying it all. I think there's a very important thing to keep in mind about Bitcoin. BlackRock's buying it all, and you have a lot of volume in a very confined space in Bitcoin around 70. Between 62 and 72, you have a tremendous amount of volume changing hands because, Fidelity and BlackRock, they just continue to buy and buy and buy and buy, right? New Bitcoin ETF sold 218 million. I mean, basically they're doing close to they're doing like $1 billion a week. They're doing $1 billion a week. And I don't know where they're getting all this Bitcoin from. Maybe the miners are selling it. But the point is, there's a lot of volume going on in a confined space. And you know what? That kind of TA goes back to commodities. And that is actually older than I am. This idea of volume in a confined space. And once the breakout happens, it just keeps going, right? So guys are drawing 2017 parallels. Okay. Sit, eventually leads to go. You sat at 10K in the last cycle through all of DeFi summer, and then it just exploded. Okay. So it's been almost 4 years. People are looking at this Gaussian channel. All right. This looks like total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. So this looks like total 2. Okay. You're above a certain moving average. These bottoms, I heard one guy call it a half pipe for skateboarding. These things are there, right? And then you sit perched on the top like in 2020. And then it literally just, it's like opening up a fire hydrant. You know, back then it was ETH. It could be ETH again. You know, no one has done any preliminary buying for the ETH ETF. Everyone's like, oh, you know, I don't know. Yeah, they don't know about the ETH ETF because they don't have enough ETH to fill a demand. And they don't want to have to market buy it. There's no miners to buy ETH from. You know, right now, BlackRock's getting it from Grayscale and Marathon. Where are they going to get all this ETH from? Where are they going to get it from? Right? So, yeah, this could happen. This could definitely happen. This is why I know there's that meme where 1 minute the guy's like, oh, I made so much money. And then there's another meme where the guy's like facing in like this. Yeah. The mode that we're in, and I've kept saying this over and over again, like this is the mode you want to be in. You want to be like, sometimes you don't want to look at the tape, and sometimes you just want to like zone in. Zone in. Okay, so El Salvador president wins with 87% of the vote. Is building a pro-freedom populist brand that is taking Latin America by storm. How funny is it after what I learned growing up, where you could take a course called Latin American Economics or the Economics of Latin America? I remember it. I'm like, well, I don't know if I need to take a three credit course about printing money is bad. Now it's the complete opposite. Price cuts on the U.S. housing market have surged to the highest level in 5 years. Okay, so housing is trading lower. And I think really all it's going to take is one rate cut for buyers to want to actually step in and pay lower prices. Right now, the market's locked. They just keep offering it down and offering it down and offering it down and offering it down. And what the housing market really needs is volume. Right? In other words, when they offered it down and people can afford a mortgage, then they'll start trading. Then it'll probably continue to just trade lower. But you want to get this market out of locked mode. And who knows how many rate cuts it could take to get it out of locked mode. Okay, so this is becoming common knowledge now that the economic data is inaccurate. You know, Wall Street admits the biggest shocker, all the jobs data. And of course, you know, everybody has a tweet about the jobs numbers. Now let's talk about why this is the case. I think this is very important. First of all, algorithms don't read facts. They read numbers based on expectations, or numbers versus Wall Street expectations. So it's funny. You know, when they want to show off how great the job market is, it's amazing how the job market beats expectations every time. Everybody expected a terrible job number, and oh, look, it came out better than we thought. And the algos buy stocks, and they just trade off this. They buy stocks, they sell bonds, and they don't have to tell the truth because the algos don't know the difference. Now, the other thing is, and this is why with crypto, people are like, you know, they're telling us this, and are we stupid? No, we're not. Well, they don't think we're stupid. They're just conditioning us to accept chronic falsehood. I mean, you know, I can remember an era where if there was no integrity in the economic data, even if some of this stuff did get leaked to the bigger players, I don't know, you would have had a crisis in markets. You would have had markets reacting. Now they're just like, they're numbing you out on not telling the truth. And that's why we crypto. Because you can say whatever you want about crypto, right? You can say pump.fun and celebrity coins and all that stuff is bad. And it's not great. Okay. But knowing and understanding that the system is not organized for the truth. And the only truth is price. In other words, I will take a Bitcoin market or an Ethereum market, even if the bigger players are involved. Like, they don't have to trade altcoins off numbers. They can for maybe a day, but then the crypto market kind of takes over. So we don't have to eat the BS salad that they're serving. Okay. In the first 4 months of 2024, U.S. has seen 210 corporate bankruptcies, the second highest since 2012. Right. And this is also connected to the employment picture. Smartest guy I know. I've got a synopsis of an article from the Telegraph over in the UK. Unfortunately, mass layoffs are coming, right? And then the Fed is just going to cut. All these European and Canadian banks, they're just getting out in front of it. They're just like, you know what? We got to start doing it now. We just cannot wait. We cannot wait for a bank to blow up. We want to be in cutting mode already. Which makes sense, right? Because otherwise, and this is going to be the Fed's problem, otherwise, when something happens and they have to cut, it's going to look like an emergency cut. It's going to look like, oh my God, they're panicking. Whereas if they get themselves in rate cut mode, then it's just like, okay, yeah, this is a problem, but we were cutting rates anyway. Okay, so public Bitcoin company raises $150 million to buy more Bitcoin. You know, some companies borrow money to buy back their stock. Some companies borrow money to buy other companies. Now we're borrowing dollars to move to a different currency. Okay, so this is going to be a problem if it's not already. It's probably priced into the regional bank stocks. And a lot of times when this becomes front page news, the stocks rally, but then they come off later, is this whole thing about credit card delinquencies, right? I think when it comes to the election, I don't know that the election is going to make people feel good. I think people have this like rebellious spirit, particularly about what happened to Donald Trump, but I'm not sure once you see these guys yelling at each other on a debate stage, whether that's going to make people feel good or not. I mean, it's good to be rebellious, but if you can't pay your bills, I don't know that any politician can save you from that. I don't. Okay. All right. So here we have our friend from the KGB telling us that BRICS will replace the US dollar. You know, that may be the case, but, you know, he's not going to like the world he's living in if that's true. The better idea is to have crypto acting as a parallel system, along with whatever currency they come up with, right? It doesn't all have to be done in the dollar, but this whole idea that, I don't know, they're just going to get rid of the dollar tomorrow. Okay, yeah, but a lot of bad things would have to happen, and you wouldn't like what the world would look like if that were the case. Like $1 million Bitcoin, you know, like I said, that's universal basic income. That's dystopia. Russia says it will continue to cut oil production. Good luck. Good luck. There's no bid for the oil that's out there on the market now. Good luck. OPEC's like, all right, we're going to cut production. We're going to cut production. We're going to cut production. No rally in oil. No bid. Just like there's no offer in gold and silver. They're smacking gold and silver this morning on a fake payroll number. Fascinating. Okay, so the Pelosi Capital Management Hedge Fund has got $7.5 million in GameStop. So now you know someone's caught, right? So Morgan Stanley shut them down. That was signal number one. Now, I mean, you know, somebody's calling Congress going, hey, can you help us out here? Nancy was like, yeah, I'll help you out. Buy me $7 million. Right? Somebody big is caught, and they know it. Now, I don't know if Nancy manages her book or somebody manages her book for her, whatever. Okay. Somebody is caught in GameStop. It's fun until it's not. So this is now, you know, their earnings announcement came out. You know, it's not the greatest company in the world. That's why somebody decided to get irresponsibly shorted. But, you know, they continue to raise capital, right? In other words, the market continues to give these guys an opportunity to raise money to theoretically reinvent the business, right? So the more money they raise, the better the company looks. The better the companies look, the more Roaring Kitty can put pressure on them for short sales. Put pressure on their short sales, which are probably not responsible. And they're literally trying to do anything to stop this thing from going to 100. I don't think they can. I've seen this before. It was in currencies, right? Where everyone's like, well, it would be really inconvenient for all of us if currencies did this. And George Soros came out and goes, you know what? I'm gonna break this. George used to like breaking things when he was young, right? I'm going to change the way we do currencies in Europe, And Roaring Kitty is like, you know what? Someone's trapped in GameStop, and this could be life-changing money, because if this person actually has to cover, it's infinity. And I don't know that they could stop that, short of having GameStop stop trading for an extended period of time. I don't know what they're going to do. But obviously, they can't stop this guy. And we'll go over the DeMark charts in a minute. Okay, so GameStop is moving in 25% increments. That bodes for higher volatility. Okay, GameStop was as high as $67 a share. You also have to you just have to be aware that these guys could be selling. Now, he's not, because he keeps showing his position, right? But other hedge funds, other quant hedge funds do have the position, just so you know, okay? Okay, so there are more than $1 billion. Is that what in GME call options that are in the money? So a call option is a derivatives bet. If you make the correct bet and the stock goes above your betting price, let's call it, then you earn the right to take delivery of the stock at that price. So if you buy a 20 call and the stock goes to 30, that means someone's got to sell you the stock at 20. So if you got the money, you go, oh, goody, I can buy a bunch of stock now. Right? And call options, you have to get the timing right, but they don't cost you a lot up front to make the bet. Right? They don't, especially if the price is very far away. Like they're going to start buying 100 calls or making $100 bets. And the thing is, like you said, if you're right and it goes above your betting price, they have to sell you the stock. And guess what? They don't have the stock. They don't have it. They just don't have it. They're selling these betting mechanisms to Roaring Kitty, and they don't have the stock. That's the options market doesn't. And the options market doesn't have the stock because, some big player, borrowed and sold more than existed. I know this is super complicated. There is not enough GameStop stock. There just isn't. Now, that's weird. It's not legal. It's complicated. But this guy, Roaring Kitty, he knows it. And the more these bets that he makes and the more stock he's able to drain out of the system, the worse it's going to get for whoever is short. Okay? Okay, Citron Research loses another 100%. Again, okay, dangerous. GameStop meme coin, believe it or not, I'm not opposed to it. I know this is volatile and you can really get wrecked in these coins. In my opinion, anybody who's playing around with GameStop with a material amount of money, with the way this world works today, you could get your account closed. You could. Like if someone says something that happened in GameStop destabilized the system, broker-dealers have legal and compliance departments. The good news about Solana is that, yes, it's the Wild West. Yes, you could get wrecked in these meme coins. If I had to trade GameStop, which I don't, but if I had to do something, I would do the Solana meme coin and stay out of the stock market. Okay, so economics, yeah, U.S. labor market powers past expectations. Whatever. Fed official says interest rates should stay high for an extended period of time. Whatever. Keep dreaming, buddy. Keep dreaming. You're going to cut rates. European central banks policymakers warn against autopilot approach to more rate cuts. Yeah, because everything's fine, right? Everything's fine. It's okay. There's no credit card debt. There's no problem with the banks. There's no hedge fund blow up. Everything is fine. Everything is not fine. It's not. Okay, so advisor to a former president ordered to surrender for ideological reasons. United States of America is ungovernable. Okay, the asset manager, Kathy Wood, pulls out of the ETH ETF. Okay, she took out and pulled her filing in preparation for the launch and confirmed that it dropped out of the race. Okay, so first, Kathy was all into it for consensus, and then she was out. Okay. So perhaps it's just a simple business decision that she doesn't know if they can maintain the ETFs and compete with everybody who's going to offer really low fees. Or she doesn't think she can get the Ethereum. No one has figured this out. Like, oh, it's about the fee. Really? These firms pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses and stuff like that. You sure about that? They can't get the ETH. They can't get the ETH. I'm sorry. I mean, we'll see if that winds up being correct. Okay. So Chris is here. Scott, good morning. Okay, let's go to PowerPoint. By the way, thank you for tuning in. I'm sure it's extremely tempting to watch Roaring Kitty. Anybody who tuned in today, I appreciate it. And if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you too. Thank you. All right. Now, this is the market update. So I haven't done this in a while, but this is from a friend of mine. He is essentially like, there's like 3 people in the market that are the smartest people in the market in my mind. This guy is like, I don't know, he's either 1 or 1A. The U.S. this is from the Telegraph. So this is from an actual news article called "The Great American Boom is Finally Running Out of Steam, Leaving Mountains of Debt." Okay, conclusion number 1. The U.S. has already tipped into a recession. Ask anyone looking for a job. 2, our base case is headed for an outright contraction. So, hear all this like, oh, it's a soft landing and interest rates higher for longer. Whatever. Unemployment is going to go to 5.5% by the end of the year. Do you realize what has to happen in order for that to occur? And of course, the deep state wants, frankly, the next president to be wearing all of that damage. In other words, the crisis will reveal itself. There'll be a new president. And as soon as the guy walks in, he's going to be walking into mass layoffs. Like we're talking about mass layoffs. Like first like a couple years ago, it was like every company letting go of like 1%, 2% of people. You're going to have 10% of people. If anything, you got any money, you got to, anybody with a job has got to get money into the crypto market as like a hedge against what could happen. You're not hedging inflation. You're hedging employment. I'm serious. I mean, can you imagine where interest rates are and Bitcoin is with unemployment at 5.5%? That's you're going to have Fed funds back at 2%. Okay, this could snowball very fast into mass layoffs unless the Federal Reserve moves fast. What are they waiting for? Maybe it's an election year. Maybe they can't admit it. I don't know. But all I know is they're behind the curve. They were behind the curve on tightening. They're behind the curve on easing. And as soon as they start cutting rates, it's going to be just like the tightening cycle. It was like 50, 50, 50, or 75, 75, 50, 50, 50. It'll be the same thing. 75, 75, 75, 50, 50, 50. All the way down to 2%. Okay. Citibank says the Fed will be forced to cut rates in July. I agree. Me and Citibank are the only people on the planet pounding the table that this whole inflation, rates higher for longer thing is total bunk. Like oil's going to 65 and then 30. Okay, GameStop. So I haven't done this. I can't remember the last time I had to run through a product on 3 different time frames. So on a daily chart, this was a 9 top, which was an organic day for a pullback. Interesting, right? So Roaring Kitty, the stock goes up, the earnings come out, it dips, and Roaring Kitty hits the tape after the dip. So when you get these signals, right, there should be, if it holds, there should be a trend resumption. So Roaring Kitty was like, I don't know, he was like buying the dip in his head. He's like, okay, they're going to come out and they're going to do this and the earnings will come out and then it'll come off. And then I'll hit the tape with the live stream after it's dipped. GameStop 4-hour chart. So this 13 is a take profit signal. So it comes off. And then this number 4, indicates that This could be a buy day. So, yeah, you saw the top signal, but this is a 4-hour chart. That may be the top, right? You get these 25% down days in this stock. 90-minute chart, there's a DeMarc moving average at 34. And, here's the 9 top, and then there's your dip. It's everywhere. This could go to 100. And if it does, what happens to the market? I don't know. Doesn't feel like anything good initially. But this could be so bad it brings in rate cuts. Okay, so I know everyone's doing GameStop today, but I'm still interested in Solana. I can't get it above 172, but any upward thrust in Solana is going to give you confirmation of this 13 bottom. We can't seem to keep any momentum going in Solana, but if we do, this bottom will be confirmed and Solana should go up. Okay, Avalanche. Gee, does anybody remember Avalanche? Possible security token functionality on the C chain. 36 was support. They broke above it. They did this whole song and dance, right? I'm sorry, this is probably not labeled right. This was 34, not 36. Okay. Let me just fix that. Oh, I can't fix that. Sorry, it's on TradingView. The point is Avalanche could go to 38. Okay, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has supported 70. Very, very clear that BlackRock is in. The big boys are in. You can see their footprint everywhere. Every dip gets bought. Even if there is a dip, they're there. 72 is next. 74 after that. It's just a question of how it happens. Ethereum. Everyone's all down on Ethereum. This is from a technical analyst from the early 20th century. His name was Jesse Livermore. He called this an accumulation cylinder. So, you went back and forth, up and down 7 times, and then it takes off. So this looks like this. And you're bouncing back and forth. They're giving you a dip today in silver. They're giving you a dip today in ETH. I mean, all it takes is the Roaring Kitty blow up. All it takes is this thing to print 100. Then the guy blows up and the Fed has to cut rates. It's probably all on the same day. Now, let's go to live TA briefly. Because I kind of have like a one chart market update. Okay, let's get over here. Let's share the screen. Producer would be very proud of me. I did live TA. I didn't forget to share the screen. Okay. Okay, so here comes a Bitcoin chart. Possibly the mother of all Bitcoin charts. Okay, so this is a daily chart coming up. Okay, and here we are. Okay, so these are Fibonacci circles that I draw. They're very useful. They're like retracements or extension analysis, but I wanted to bring this to your attention. So, okay, every time Bitcoin kind of goes through one of these circles, like over here, you can see Bitcoin went down. It hit the circle, it went down, and then it went up. And then it hits the circle, and it goes down, and then it went up. And over here, I don't even know it can go down, but it might if there's a GameStop problem, but BlackRock is in. So there's a dip, there's a pause, and then boom, it just takes off. Keep in mind, this was vertical, and this was mega vertical. This was giga vertical. Okay, and these kind of square-ish consolidation patterns, even if Bitcoin rushes up and then comes back off, I'm not sure exactly if it's going to look like the last two, but the bottom line is the next big dip in Bitcoin, it could be the last dip. Now, is it tomorrow? Is it next week? Is it CPI? Are we going to have to listen to more of this annoying posturing about inflation when the real issue is elsewhere? I mean, English newspapers know what the deal is. How long do you think it's going to take for the Fed to get it? I don't know. It's an election year. They're going to maintain the BS as long as they can maintain the BS. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, Busy is enjoying the show. I appreciate that. Okay, Gian tries to make every single live stream. Tex Media is here. Welcome. Chris from Belgium is in the house. All right, I want to keep it very simple today because I know Roaring Kitty is on, and I know whatever he does is really going to influence the market. Crypto could experience downside volatility if GameStop starts making a new high. GameStop at 100 guarantees a hedge fund blow up. Somebody will blow up because that's the whole point of this, right? We're not like, you know what? I'm going to get long hundreds of millions of dollars in GameStop stock because I think I'm going to get a solid 10% annual return. No. They're long $200 million of GameStop stock because in order to get people to actually sell to the short sellers, it could have to go to 1,000. It's not investment advice. It's not a price target. I'm just saying. When that happens, it will be entertaining, but risk asset negative, most likely. Honestly, because the Fed will have to come in and cut to stop the problem. So GameStop fun, dip coming in crypto, maybe. If it is, just be ready. And remember, alternative finance, DeFi, real world assets, layer twos, all these coins that I've been covering. Make sure you stay focused because that one slide about the possibility of alt season, about the possibility of somebody going, I want an alternative financial system. Roaring Kitty could be the symbol of the transition from the old system to the new system. I don't know if anybody's going to remember his GameStop P&L or whether they're going to remember him as the guy that had everybody move from legacy to crypto. Okay. GN says, what are your thoughts on DOT in terms of DCA holding until next year? Okay. I did talk to Polkadot at the conference. You know, Polkadot is in conversations with BlackRock, and Polkadot 2.0 will produce incredibly fast transaction fees, incredible bandwidth for transactions at almost zero cost. However, Polkadot, unlike ETH, is considered software by the regulators and the CFTC. Okay, meaning Polkadot, the Polkadot crypto is currency used to pay for software. That's how I understood it. It's a lot like Chainlink. So I don't know if it fits the hot layer one narrative. What I do know is when BlackRock comes into play and they start to bring these security tokens online, I can't believe they're not going to buy Polkadot, but I don't know if they're going to be buying Polkadot today. Okay, that's it. We will see you next week.